Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Bert 91. We're talking to you guys about Ready to Love. We're dealing with, Shiloh and dealing also with Sidney. I wanted to say this is a very difficult position for Sidney to be in, because now she has to believe another fellow woman, which women often tend to do, or at least they try to believe in a woman about the fact that she had been through a physically assaulting situation. Right, which hurt Shiloh emotionally, not physically, but she describes a physical event. And Sidney's left in this position where she's hearing the story now, and she has to really make a really big decision because why? I'm a propagator of like, ladies, if you hear another lady saying she's been abused physically, why would you want to go to that man? So now she's in a very difficult position because now she hears the story. What does she do? And this is what we want to talk about on this particular episode, and talk about why I feel like Shiloh's behavior is out of order, and it needs checking real quick, because it can cause damage to people's reputation, people's name. And also as well, it can do damage to other future potential partners as well going forward. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate, guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. And for those of you who are returnees, already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals, and we're going to talk a little bit more. All right, cool. So I think what we saw obviously Shiloh come and talk to the girls, right? And she made it very, very clear that, look, hey, I'm not saying it's physical harm that I received from Phil. Okay, so this is very clear. She makes this on more than one occasion on this episode, that it's not physical harm she got from Phil picking her up. It's more the fact that emotional harm she got because she told him to leave her alone, and he didn't, and he picked her up. Okay, all right, but the harm really comes from the fact that she's been triggered because she had past scars from past people who she's allowed into her life who've done similar things. When I say similar, in terms of physical or emotional abuse, and therefore Phil's behavior triggered her to a point. Now, here's the thing. Okay, right? When she tells a story to the ladies, we don't get to hear this, so it might be edited. We don't get to hear her say, hey, listen, ladies, I'm not gonna lie to you, Phil tried to pick me up, but actually I was the one that was triggered because I had been through some past experiences, No, she went to the ladies and told them, well, Phil picked me up, and I told him not to pick me up, and he picked me up. And then goes on to describe, but he didn't physically hurt me, guys. I'm emotionally hurt. Right? Now, I'm sorry, all right? Many people here are not psychologists and they're not counselors. They're not going to read between the lines and think to themselves, hold on a minute, like, you really mean he emotionally hurt you? No, sis. They're going to put two and two together. He picked you up, and are you saying you're emotionally hurt? They're still going to register in their mind that he physically harmed you because you told a physical altercation. Right? And you've told the story in a way where you've taken no accountability. When I say accountability in this instance, as in not exploring the fact that you were the one that was triggered by this act. Had you not had those past experiences, would you have been triggered? No. And that's the accountability I'm talking about. Instead, you're trying to make it a campaign against, well, if a woman tells you to leave her alone, you shouldn't touch her. But you were, and I guess I said in my other video, but then you were in the latter part of the conversation with Phil, saying, why couldn't you have walked down the alley with me? Well, you told him to leave you alone. So why would you want him to follow you? Wouldn't that trigger you as well? Cool, but let's stick to the task of this conversation. It's about Sidney's a very difficult position now, because now she's, as a woman, okay, all right. Even if Sidney said herself, would you mind if I go and speak to Phil? If a man is physically abusive, it don't matter what more than likely you're not going to get a true answer from him if he did this thing or not. Yeah, I mean, why would he want to spoil his market? Do you get me? Look, a man is rarely going to express if he's hurting a woman like that. No, why would he do that? He understands the consequences of admitting such a behavior. So Sidney going to Phil wouldn't get the result that she may require in order to be convicted. I think she wanted to be convicted anyway, so I don't think Sidney believed Shiloh at all, really. But the issue here is this: if this is like a setting outside of the show, right? And Shiloh says this, right? Most women, I'll say this again. Women who hear other women talk about the fact that a man has abused them probably should believe them. Don't disbelieve them. Because oftentimes that woman has no ulterior motive apart from the fact that she feels like she has been hurt and wants to save other women from being hurt. So I totally get it. So because of that reasoning for women, right, that's why it makes Shiloh's conversation and dilution of the information so much more poisonous, because now a woman should take on what she said and actually flee from Phil. But because Sidney knows Phil and knows a part of his character and what he's about, she tries to defend him slightly by saying, I never got that energy from him. He's a protector. I get it. And she says, obviously, he shouldn't have put his hands on you, and I agree with that, right? Because what Shiloh has done now is made the whole focus about he shouldn't have put his hands on her. Not by the fact that she walked down the alley at 4 a.m., not by the fact that he's explained it, saying, hey, look, you know what, my reasoning is, it was late at night, you were going in a certain direction, it's dangerous. Not that explanation, not that reasoning, not that depth. Instead, he shouldn't have picked me up. Right? So now Sidney's in a very difficult position. That's what I'm trying to say to you. She's put Sidney in a very difficult situation, and actually it partly almost feels a bit manipulative to try and get Sidney to run away from Phil as well, right? Because that information is quite deep. But I'm not saying he physically harmed me, but I'm gonna tell you a story. He actually physically harmed me, but he didn't really physically harm me. But if you say he physically harmed me, then I can't say anything. Right? Throwing stones and putting your hands in the air as if you didn't do anything. That's the equivalent of what I'm feeling right now with that situation. So for me, I look at the situation and I go, okay, so Sidney has to have this conversation with Phil. She'll get a different point of view from Phil. What's her next move? This is what I'm saying about the confusion now, because, like I said, you're going to have two different truths, right? You know, two different truths. And with those two different truths, Sidney's going to be in a place where she has to weigh up the options. But she shouldn't be in that situation if Shiloh was being honest with herself, being honest about her condition emotionally, being honest with the girls, and not trying to seek a victim role, because that's what it felt like. And I'm not trying to even break Shiloh down. I totally understand women do go through it, and this is why it's annoying, because women do go through DV, and they don't get believed. And then we have Shiloh promoting a story in a similar situation, but not having that experience. So yeah. Oh man, it's tight. It's tight. That's what I'm saying. I don't like where it went to, and then Sidney's having to defend him, and it's a dangerous playground. Like, imagine having to defend someone. Imagine if he actually did do something. Now Sidney would now be defending a person who doesn't have, who's not defendable. But obviously Phil's character speaks volumes, and this is why men, especially, your integrity, your character is so important, because people can vouch for you, right? People can vouch for you, right? You if you know me long enough, you know my character, I'm about things. I'm not about to get in a situation where I'm allowing myself to be drunk and to a point where I could be acting stupid. No, that's not my thing. I'm sober, and so people, if someone says that, oh, Koji was drunk, they were like, what? Koji doesn't even drink. He's never drunk his entire life. Why would he be drunk? That's character. That's the integrity. That's time. People knowing you over a period of time and season, knowing what you're about, they can vouch for you. And that's probably what kind of Sidney's done here. Like I said, she gets the protective vibe from Phil, but it can plant a seed of doubt now. And that's the end point I want to end on, that no matter what, there's now a seed of doubt in the mind of Phil, right? And that's the key point, in the mind of any woman who's on a show who was trying to date Phil. In the back of their mind, they're going to be thinking, da-da-da. But I saw on Instagram how, Aisha came out, dropped the video, picture, showed, her, said obviously her defending Phil again as well. And it's like, I hope Zadia's not picking up the same energy, that Charlotte's not picking up the same energy from Zadia and Camille with the mad movements, you know what I'm saying? Because it'll be an absolute shame. So, yeah, man, I mean, let us know your thoughts about that, because I think, as Charlotte came woman to woman to the girls, the girls had a duty to also like act upon that and be like, hey, do you know what? Yeah, I believe her. Her words are true. But you know, that's not necessarily where it will go to and how it will go down, because some people will believe. It's peak. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it there. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded.